Yes. to today's show. My name is Senna, aka Alinko. This is the Progressive Mind Show. We are glad to be coming your way, and I must say that we will be learning a lot about Nigeria today, especially Nigeria politics. It is Nigerians elections year. This month, actually, Nigerians are going to the ballot. So the Nigerians elections and the nuances, some of the details, and its impact on Sub-Saharan Africa. My name is Senna, aka Alinko, and you are listening to and watching the Progressive Mind Show, your #1 community building show, here, right here in the beautiful city in Chicago, the beautiful city of Chicago. You can watch us live on Facebook. If you are here, please share the feed. Um, if not, you can also watch it on YouTube and share it from there as well. At the moment, we will be going straight to our wonderful guest this evening. And let me just okay. So we want to start the show right away. We apologize for the late start in the show. I want to bring my guest in right away. I have Dr. ISREAL NONYEREM Davidson here. Daniel, we need more light if you can, and if you can turn your phone sideways to the side, that will help us a lot, Daniel. As we bring, let's go straight to Dr. ISREAL. He is not a stranger on the show. We're glad to be having him. I think, Dr. ISREAL, you have your microphone on mute. Awesome. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
We can definitely hear you now.
Excellent.
Well, so a brief background about Dr. NONYEREM for those of you who will be listening to him the first time. We're gonna just give me 1 second. We have to get our next guest back in the studio. Just bear with me one moment as I try to connect him back into our studios. Please bear with me. Here we go. Okay, so can you hear me now, Dr. Daniel?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Is there any way you can switch your phone sideways?
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that. While he's trying to fix that, Dr. NONYEREM is a professor at the business school in the United Kingdom, specifically Newcastle University. He's also a former presidential candidate. Nigeria is also the producer or the author of the famous or the viral video titled "Who Did This to Us?" And if you are an avid supporter or a follower of the Diaspora Conversations, you should have seen this video. If not, you can go on YouTube, type his name. A lot of his products in terms of his messages regarding Africa and other subjects are there. Dr. ISREAL Davidson, we are glad to have you on the show once again.
Thank you, Senna. Thank you. Very pleased for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant.
So much.
From since the last time we connected, tell us what has been going on with you.
Well, nothing much other than that. I've been working very hard to support the one of the presidential candidates. There is a feed somewhere.
Yeah, I got you. Let's go. Yeah, I corrected.
Okay. Yeah. Apart from my academic work, I think I've been working very hard to support one of the presidential candidates in the upcoming elections. And I myself, actually, I did try. I wanted to run myself, but eventually I stepped down. And I thought that the candidate I've chosen to support is going to transform Nigeria, and of course with positive impact on Sub-Saharan Africa. So tonight's topic is quite a well-chosen one. Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you on here again. And next to him is Dr. Daniel AGIRI. Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
All right. I think we're getting an echo from your end, and we may have to switch. Can you try your computer? Okay, because feedback.
Yeah, the problem I have now is that I'm not in my own house. I'm outside, so I just want to meet up the time, and I'm using my mobile phone.
All right. So are we getting feedback from your? You might want to switch location. Okay. See if that can help.
Okay.
Thank you. So while we wait for him to come back, Dr. Davidson, who were you supporting this time? Your microphone is off.
Yeah, sorry. Very good. You can hear me now, yeah? I'm supporting a newcomer, not necessarily new, but if you are, looking at the juggernauts of Nigerian politics, I would say that he's new, and that is former Governor Peter Obi and of Labour Party. Yeah.
Let's look at first of all, give us a brief historical background when it comes to Nigerian politics. We know you've had a democratic, just like Ghana, we've had our independence since 1956. I think 1957. I'll come back and correct that. Ghana independence, but go ahead and give us that brief historical background.
Well, as you know, Nigeria is a great country. I wouldn't swap Nigeria for any other country. We were once colonized by the British. As you know, I'm speaking from United Kingdom currently. In 1960, we had our independence. And then the constitution that was agreed between the north and south of Nigeria, bearing in mind that the north, predominantly Muslims, and then of course the south, predominantly Christians. Now, that was the Westminster system of administration, where we had a prime minister, and of course we had a ceremonial head we call president. And that ceremonial head was Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and he came from the south. And then, of course, the prime minister was Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa. Somewhere along the line, I mean, one of the great things about that political system was that because of the suspicion between the North and South, Christian and Muslims, the way they agreed the constitution was one whereby there was a kind of autonomy between regions. So regions, the East, the West, and the North, the politicians were almost in competition to develop, their various regional sections. And so that brought rapid development, rapid advancement. For example, I come from the eastern part of our country, and our prime minister, not necessarily prime minister, the premier of the region at the time was Michael Obara, and he made wonderful contributions that, in fact, there was a time that it was reported that the eastern Nigeria was likely going to be one of the most advanced countries in the world, ahead of Taiwan and other areas. Now, and likewise, the Western region, Chief Awolowo was developing that area, and then the North the same way. Now, somewhere in the 1966, there was a military coup, and that military coup did set us, back, and that's what led to the Civil War, which eventually ended at somewhere around 1970. And since then, we have gone through military administration until recently, when we've had some stability in terms of civilian administration. And currently, President Buhari, whom I did contest the 2019 election with, is currently the outgoing president, as we work hard to introduce a new government. I think that is just a very quick way of giving you some background of political, history.
Thank you. That really helps, and for those who are watching it for the first time and listening to this history for the first time, I'm sure that they appreciate it. I have been a Ghanaian all my life. We know a thing or two about Nigeria, but the history you just gave us, or at least the synopsis of the history you just gave us, political wise, is awesome, and I truly appreciate it. Having said that, Peter Obi, you said, is your man, the guy you're supporting, and I think one would also be curious as in, first of all, how many presidential candidates are there?
I think there are about 18 of them, but the prominent ones are 3. The 3 ones. Yeah.
Right. Can you list the prominent ones?
The prominent ones is the current political party, the ruling party, which is the APC. That is led by former Governor Tinubu, and then the P2B, the Labour Party, and then of course the PDP, led by Alhaji, Atiku. These are the 3 prominent political parties. So, of course, there are other upcoming ones whom I so much respect, because the presidential candidates are very eager to make a difference in the Nigerian politics. We've been dominated for too long by 2 major parties, and I think the time has come for us to, encourage these upcoming, political parties to come and make their own marks.
Thank you. Let's see if we can get Dr. AGIRI. Okay. We're still getting. I apologize. Can you try again? You may have to try another maybe location or something, because the feedback is not helping. And so while we try to get him, you mentioned the incumbent party, and you said that is led by
former Governor Tinubu, Ahmed Tinubu. Yes.
I thought that the incumbent government is Buhari. Is that not correct?
Oh yes, I thought you meant the presidential candidate.
You're right. That's my fault. So no, thanks for clarifying it. So when it comes to the top 3 candidates that are running against the incumbent government, who is incumbent government led by
Buhari. President Buhari.
What's the name of his party?
That's the APC.
That's
Action
APC.
People's Congress.
Okay.
APC, yeah.
Action People's Congress.
Yes.
And then the one. Okay, so among the 3, the top on the 3 that is, let's say the top of the 3 is led by the name again. I'm sorry.
The first one that I'm talking about, the ruling political party. Okay.
Yes, aside the ruling political party, the next 3 political parties that are
the next two is the Labour Party.
Okay.
Labour Party, and where you have P2B, whom I'm supporting.
Okay.
And of course the PDP, People's Democratic Party, led by Alhaji Atiku.
Alhaji Atiku. And
yes.
so for Buhari's term, he's leaving, right? He's not running again. Okay.
Yes.
So who is going to be in his stead? I mean, standing on his party and running for his party, ADP.
That is the Tinubu, Governor Tinubu.
There you go. I think that's where the confusion. So Tinubu, Tinubu is running on the ticket of APC.
Of APC, yes.
There you go. Okay, so I'm learning too. I'm learning this.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
APC. Yes. So if Buhari leaves the way, I mean, if Buhari leaves, the next person who would occupy the flagship of APC will be Tinubu.
Okay. That is if he wins.
If he wins,
if he wins.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. If he wins. Yes. Now, is Tinubu southerner, from the east or from the north?
No, Tinubu is from the south. He's from the western. He's from the Yoruba tribe, from the west.
In my understanding, and from people who don't know Nigerian politics so much, looks like the APC have been led by people from the north. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. President Buhari is from the north and a Muslim. Yes.
Right, and then his predecessor.
In fact, his predecessor was from the south. That is, yes, President Jonathan Goodluck. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so because for those of us on the outside looking in, especially some Africans, I think West Africans, I think we have this notion that most the Hausas or people from the north have ruled the country most of the time. Is that correct? Maybe you want to.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. Yes, yes.
Okay. And has that been on the ticket of the APC?
No, there have been different political parties, but the way the system, there is a kind of gentleman agreement between political parties in Nigeria that there's this rotational system whereby one term a candidate or presidential candidate from the south will be given opportunity to emerge the president, and the next time it will be not. I mean, it's not constitutional, but it was a kind of gentleman agreement between the political parties. But the reason why the North seems to have dominated in governing the country, and then I think the major reason there, one is to do with population and the way Nigeria has been carved out. You find that if you look at the map of Nigeria, the North, seems to be has occupy more space and in terms of population as well. So there is no way that you can succeed in emerging a presidential candidate in Nigeria without the support of the North, because of the formula for winning, and of course the density of population, which of course is to the advantage of the North. One other reason is that we had so many years of military rule, and you have mostly the Northerners that occupied the higher ranks in the military. It was also them that led most of the coups, that toppled governments, and the military rules. Once you succeed in your military coup, you emerge the leader. So if you look at most of the military coups we had in our country, they were mostly successfully led by Northerners. So eventually they emerged as leaders. So if you add the military rule plus the civilian rule, yes, I think they've ruled about 64% of the time.
Okay. So it looks as if there was a national call, or I would say a holistic call for maybe the Southerners or the Northerners to get into power, to take over, and because there's that feeling that Northerners have ruled for a long time, so that sentiment of switching to another tribe is very high on the very high when it comes to very high when it comes to the citizenry, citizenry when they headed towards these elections. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, of course. Yes. Remember that first of all, when you're looking at the way we describe political system in our country, it's almost like there is north-south divide.
Right.
Then when you come to the south, then of course you have the west and you have the east. For different reasons, which I don't want to get into here. It's been very difficult to get people from the east to emerge as presidential candidates or as presidents. Finally. And to be honest, I think I must say that one of the reasons was because of the Nigeria-Biafra war. Now, because the East were, part of the breakaway Biafra, for some reasons, which some people sometimes we speculate that there's a kind of gang up, not to allow people from that area to emerge as president, and a kind of punishment for wanting to break away. But I think the war ended since the 1970s, and there is a lot of understanding that People from that region have contributed enormously in the development of the country. People from that region, they are, very, very industrious. They're almost the powerhouse of the economy of the country. And therefore, there is a need to encourage them, to give them that opportunity to govern the country and also to make their own mark. And finally, I think also because there has been an intense pressure from some of the for some groups like like IPOP, Indigenous Peoples of Biafra. This is a group that emerged, and they've been putting pressure on the Nigerian government to allow them to separate. Almost a continuation of the Biafra agitation. So people argue that one of the reasons fueling agitation is because the citizens of that region have not been actively involved, into Nigerian politics. And so this time, that a time has come in order to quell the agitation, and also to use the brain power and industriousness of people from that region to try to revitalize the economy and the performance of the country. So yes, you're right. There has been that pressure to get people from the South, particularly South, to run as president.
Awesome. And most of the natural resources. Before I go to the next question, let me see if we can get Dr. Daniel.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think we're experiencing the same problem.
I don't know actually what is going on about the internet, because as of now, I don't know. I try to position myself. I don't know if it is network or something like that, or the connection.
And it's very interesting because we can hear you clearly.
Yes.
It's just the echo. That we're experiencing.
Okay, I don't know. I try to position it because as I'm talking to you now, I am inside a ship, because that I deal with immigrants and all these things. We are trying to go and rescue some Sub-Saharan people who are passing through Mediterranean Sea. So that is why you may hear echo or something like that, and the thing may not be stable. But I think we have a very good internet here.
And you know what? We'll try to make this happen. Because when I'm talking, it seems to be fine.
Okay, go ahead and ask the question so that I can be able to respond before the echo. Okay. Yeah.
So my question to you is, Dr. Israel Davidson has given us a brief background of Nigeria. What is your take on this year's elections?
Yeah, everybody knows that the Nigerian election used to be, this tribal, they believe in tribal and religious politics. But today, I think the OB have changed so many things now, and many people have started realizing that by doing this, their tribalism and religious politics, cannot help, especially the youths, because so many years, due to regional politics or something like that, many people have ruled. At the end of the day, they cannot even develop Nigeria as a country because of all these factors. Because a Yoruba man wants to, when he gets there to be a president, he like to put his brother or the brother or the sister in most of the key positions. And at the end of the day, they may not be able to deliver. But OP have come to this time around to change the narrative about Nigerian politics, and it's not going to be as usual. That is why we are praying to God so that the INEC of Nigeria, they will, try to conduct this election, fair and, they need to, free and fair election, So don't mind my English because I am here in a part of Europe. We don't speak English, so I don't know. So but I know
What do you
every
speak
day.
What language?
Dutch.
Okay.
So
a brief background about who you are.
Huh?
Your about your background.
What I'm doing, I don't. It's breaking. Can you say it again?
So you are a humanitarian.
Yes, I'm a humanitarian. Yes, I work with the European Commission for Migrants and Refugee Commission, and also the deputy head of International Diplomatic Society, and the co-founder of African Migrants. So,
tell us briefly what you do in that regard.
In that regard, we are trying to, those people, we are making campaign, trying to let people know that going through Mediterranean Sea is not the ideal. It's not ideal because a lot of people are dying there. And we are trying to rescue some of them who have already entered the sea. And when they cross over, we'll be able to document them, know why they are running, know why they are, here in Europe, and to see if they can help them seek asylum.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
We would get to Dr. AGIRI again, but please bear with us due to the echo. But I was going to ask Dr. Davidson the composition of the natural resources when it comes to the Nigerian economy. So can you give us that background, Dr. Davidson?
Yeah, thank you, Senator. We are a blessed country. And that's one of the reasons why they call it the giant of Africa. It's not only in terms of the population, but the resources we are endowed with and the quality of the citizens themselves. In the South, we have the oil sector and both, I'm talking about the petroleum products, gas, and all that stuff. In the North is endowed with huge amount of natural resources, ranging from gold to diamond to a number of other, minerals, zinc, you name them. Now, since the end of the Civil War, a lot of focus, Nigeria has been highly dependent on the oil from the South, and that has almost subdued the interest in exploiting a number of other options, other minerals that are in the North.
Okay.
So huge natural resources, but currently I think the focus has been on the oil sector.
It's one. Let me get here. It's 32 minutes past 4 p.m. You're still watching the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Senna, and I'm talking to Dr. ISREAL NONYEREM Davidson and Dr. AGIRI on the Nigerian elections and its impact on Sub-Saharan Africa. In a few minutes, we'll get to listen to them regarding what they think this elections is going to have. The outcome of this election is going to have on Sub-Saharan Africa. You spoke about the power of Nigeria, the giant of Africa, but indeed we're not feeling the effects of the size, the population size, the economic size of Nigeria. Let's look at the significance of Nigeria as a strategic country when it comes to the Sub-Saharan African development in the first place. And Dr. Davidson, you've done a lot of research and work on this in this space. Can you please elaborate? Can you please help us understand the role Nigeria plays when it comes to the sub-region of Africa?
I think, Sani, if you will allow me, I think you might be explaining to your audience what we mean by Sub-Saharan Africa, because
yes,
anytime we mention Sub-Saharan Africa, a lot of people, even including Africans themselves,
yes,
they tend to be a little bit confused. Yes. Well, Now, according to the United Nations, Sub-Saharan Africa consists of all African countries and territories that are fully or partially south of the Sahara. And these are made up of 46 countries located in Central Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, West Africa, and Africa island nations. So that's what we mean by Sub-Saharan Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And this program tonight is a very, very important one. The reason is that if you look at the wealth composition of those countries in Sub-Saharan Africa, generally you have it is regarded as the poorest region in the world. Mm. And these regions are still suffering from the legacies of colonial conquest, occupation, neo-colonialism, inter-ethnic conflict, and political strife. All right, and in other words, that it contains many of the least developed countries. So, you are the Nigerian economy, or Nigeria as a very powerful country. Many of these countries, apart from perhaps South Africa, look up to Nigeria. To lead in a number of areas. And the other thing also, Sani, I would like your audience to know about the Sub-Saharan Africa is that one of the world's fastest growing population. And again, while population has its advantages, it has also got some challenges. Mm. I was looking at today, I think currently the combined population is about 1.18 billion inhabitants. Mm. And it, the Sub-Sahara occupies very large space. I was looking at the area space, and I think it occupies something like 23.29 million square kilometers. Now, if you compare this to Europe, Europe is 10.53 million square kilometers. China is about 9.6 million square kilometers. USA is about 9.8 million square kilometers. So you will see that Sub-Saharan Africa has enormous space to its advantage. Absolutely. All right. Yep. Now, yeah. But however, the combined GDP is only $1.32 trillion. So you can see that region needs liberation economically and otherwise.
Absolutely.
And therefore, Nigeria, being one of the countries that that has got a lot going for it. We are one of the most educated in Africa, and then we have a very powerful economy that the oil sector, has helped us over time. Nigerians are very industrious, and wherever you go across the world, you find Nigerians doing very well, even in the United States where you are.
Exactly. Yeah. They have the most educated, I'll say, number of educated professionals among the immigrant community.
Absolutely.
And just to go back earlier, I was trying to get a date for Ghana's independent date. The year is 1957. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Nigeria was 1960 years.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
So Nigeria has been playing an enormous role. Mm-hmm. And if you look at some of the military, or call it, civil wars we've had in West Africa, Liberia and others, mm-hmm. It was the influence of Nigeria, both in terms of contribution militarily, that eventually helped in solving the problems in those areas.
And even South Africa.
Say that again?
South Africa too.
Yes, in South Africa during the apartheid. During the apartheid, it was Nigeria that provided a lot of the funding. It was Nigeria that even imposed sanctions, against some of those trading with the South African regime. It was Nigeria that provided, safe haven for some of their leaders and trained them as well.
Yeah.
So in West Africa, Nigeria is very, very prominent in terms of what it does for that region. Mm-hmm. If you look at the the ECOWAS, which is the Economic Community of West Africa. Nigeria is the headquarters. Currently, there is a proposed African Central Bank, which is to be established. Again, Nigeria is the chosen headquarters.
Is that WAMI?
What?
There is a proposed African West African currency.
Oh no, it's not the currency at the moment. I'm talking about a central bank.
Okay,
they're trying to. There's a proposal for African Central Bank. Yes. Again, Nigeria has been chosen to be the location, and then I don't know whether you are aware that there is pressure on United Nations to allow African countries, some of African countries, to be permanent members of the UN Security Council.
Yes.
If that reform goes through, once again, it is Nigeria that will have to play an enormous part in it. I'm not sure whether also you've heard about the free trade agreement.
Yep.
Again, although it's taken on more than 2 years now, it hasn't taken off adequately.
Yes.
But again, Nigeria, it will not be able to take off properly without the input from Nigeria, because you need increased productivity and all that. Yes.
So Nigeria, AFCTA or something.
Yes, yes, AFCFTA. Yes, right, yes. Right. So that these are, so anywhere you look, Nigeria is very, very important, for that continent.
And absolutely, and even in the 70s, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, when we had the oil boom, Nigeria was actually a place where a lot of Africans will migrate to for greener pastures. Now, I remember a lot of Ghanaians went there. My father was there at the time, but unfortunately, it got to a time you guys were like, Ghana must go.
I think, yes.
You changed your immigration policy on us. He said, tell us about that era. Daniel, you were there around, I'm sure you were a young man there at the time, but you want to elaborate on that era? I mean, it's just something that I remember. Daniel, I think your microphone is off.
Oh my God. You muted it. It is on mute from your side.
We can hear you.
Okay. About that era of Ghana must go. You know that it's not Nigeria that started it sometime. Ghana did it some time ago.
Yes.
When they started it first. Yes. When their economy were okay, and so many Nigerians migrated to Ghana too. At the end of the day, they, because of too much people we are trying to go there, when Ghana was Gold Coast or something like that, and they forced Nigerians that they should go back to their country. So during that era of Nigeria, that Ghana must go, because that particular period was that so many Nigerians doesn't even know about the migrants and something like that. They believe that most of the Ghanaians are, going for cheaper labor. And when you look at it, Naira was too strong that time. When you make a few Naira and you go to Ghana and change it, it becomes a bigger money, like as we are suffering today. In the Western world, you take euro or dollar, pounds, and go to Nigeria now, you change it, it will become a bigger money or something like that. So many Ghanaians, they started trooping Nigeria. And at the end of the day, the job that is meant for, that's supposed to be a standard job, they will go for half of it. They will cheap labor, and at the end of the day, most of the Nigerians started feeling bad about that or something like that. Something that you can do for 1 Naira, a Ghanaian will come and do it for 50 kobo. So that is one of the things that contributed about that Ghana must go. So, and this helped to, because as an investor or somebody who have a company or industry, you find out people are coming for a cheaper labor where you can make more gain. You will go for the people. And, and the ECOWAS then have not been strong as it is today.
Okay.
Right. So that is why the Nigerians, instead of Ghana, they must.
Okay, fair point. Dr. Davidson, would you like to add to what he said regarding the now the Ghana must go thing is not the point, is not the topic for discussion. But now that now that we're here, I think it will be a good source of information for those who don't even know that this history existed between these two great nations. Go ahead, Dr. Davidson.
No, Daniel is right. It might interest you to know that I was a student in Ghana at the time.
Okay.
And my parents were forced to leave the country. That was the period of Prime Minister Busia.
There you go.
Of Ghana.
Busia, yes.
And I was little, and the war had just ended in Nigeria.
Biafra war, okay.
And so I knew that my parents at the time they were quite uncertain about what may have happened to our relations in Nigeria. We hadn't heard from them after the war, and all of a sudden, Busia ordered everybody to return to Nigeria.
Right.
I must add that Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah set up Ghana in a very, very highly advantageous way. And so Ghana, enjoyed the independence earlier in 1957, and with a lot of, fantastic vision of Kwame Nkrumah. And so suddenly the economy of Ghana was almost stronger than any other one that is in West Africa. And at the time also, gold was the in thing. So you have a number of Nigerians and other West Africans migrating to Ghana to seek green pastures,
right? Just
like what is happening right now.
Absolutely.
And then suddenly the table turned.
Yeah.
And after the Civil War, we experienced the oil boom.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, again, after Rawlings coup and the execution of some of the leaders, I'm not sure what happened, whether it is spiritual, whatever that happened. I think Ghana went through a very difficult time.
Absolutely.
And so you had Ghanaians who began to migrate back to our country.
Right.
And Daniel is right. They began to, because of the strength of the Naira against cedis. So any little money they made in Nigeria was a big one when converted in Ghanaian currency.
Right.
So they were prepared to do the job, more cheaply. But I don't think that was the major reasons why they were asked to leave. I think the major reason was that there were many illegal immigrants, and crime became so much. Armed robbery became the order of the day.
Okay.
And so the Nigerian government began to look for ways to reduce the incidence of crime. And so the first thing to do was to get those who are unlawfully occupying our country to return. Unfortunately, there were many Ghanaians.
Okay.
And so they were forced to leave. Yes.
Okay. If you're watching us, this is the Progressive Mind Show. It's 47 minutes past 4 p.m. Central Time, and we are talking about the Nigerian elections coming up this month and its implication on Sub-Saharan Africa. You can watch this show, of course, live here on Facebook, YouTube. We are live on Twitter as well. If you miss it, you can tell friends and your loved ones to follow us on our YouTube channel, The Progressive Mind Show. Like the page, turn on the notifications so every Sunday at 4 p.m. when we come here, you can be part of the community building show. And Tuesdays, 6 p.m., we are also here talking about issues going on in our community. And coming Tuesday, we will be host at 7 p.m. We will host State Rep Kambakana, who is running to become a mayor of Chicago. He's running for the office of mayor in Chicago. So that would be very interesting, coming Tuesday at 6 p.m. here on the Progressive Mind Show. In the meantime, I have Dr. Israel Davidson all the way in the UK. He's an assistant professor there, a former Nigerian presidential candidate, and now throwing his support behind Peter Obi. And then Dr. Daniel AGIRI is an international immigration diplomat who is currently in Europe helping Africans who are migrating on the high seas and try to get to any parts of Europe. That is another huge conversation we'll be having here. Pardon us for the echo during his feed, but we'll go back to the conversation this evening. Now, Dr. Davidson said something interesting. He said, one of the reasons why Nigerian government decided to let Ghanaians go at the time, I think this was in the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Early 70s to mid 70s thereabout. He said crime was on the increase. It didn't mean that Ghanaians were committing the crime. It was just a general thing. Okay. I'm just vouching for
that's right. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes.
So no, but great info. Thank you so much for sharing. So Peter Obi and Tinubu is APC. Yes. Peter Obi is running on the ticket of
Labour Party.
Labour Party. And then there's another person you just mentioned.
That's Alhaji Atiku.
Alhaji Atiku. And on what party is that?
PDP. People's Democratic Party. PDP. People's Democratic Party. Yes.
Daniel, before you came on, first I'll take Dr. Davidson's take take on about having him give us his take on this. But what party are you said you're supporting Peter Obi too, just like him. Are you doing so because you are Igbo, I'm suspecting?
But I'm not supporting him as an Igbo candidate. I'm supporting him as a Nigerian candidate.
Okay.
Because he knows.
I'm sorry. Dr. Davidson, are you Igbo?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead. Hold on. Dr. Daniel AGIRI, among these three parties, I know you're supporting Peter Obi, who's the leader of the Labour Party. But sincerely, when you look at the trend, and the energy in Nigeria, when we spoke offline, you said the last time you went there is 2 weeks. I was 2 weeks ago. Who do you sincerely think that has the momentum right now as we speak, Daniel?
If they should do free and fair election, Peter will win. Because I've been in the grassroots. I spoke with from southeast, southwest, and Abuja. At the end of the day, you see that a lot of people, Nigerians, are looking for change because all these PDP, APC, they have been there, and there is no development. Only doing regional and what do they call it? Religious politics. But P2B, I think that P2B can change the narrative by, trying to carry everybody, no matter their religion, no matter the part of Nigeria you come from or something like that. I have done such a thing in Anambra State, where there is a lot of, when he was a governor, where there is a lot of people, cabals, who hijacked the government, even seized the government. Anambra did not function for 2 good years because of the cabals, and Obi went there and destroyed them. And from bottom, they become number one. So I think Obi have the track record to change Nigeria.
What is the number one thing on the electorate's minds on the streets when it comes to things that matter to them? What would you say, if you can just give listed on the scale of preference from 1 to 3? What are the 3 key things that people are crying for change when it comes to these elections?
1 is security, 2 economy, 3 education.
Okay, thank you for giving us those lists. Dr. Davidson, from what he said, he talked about the cabals, and some people might not know what the cabal stands for and their effect and their impacts and influence the Nigerian economy? Secondly, are the cabals the same as the Fulanis and even Boko Haram? You know, can you give us a breakdown of these terminologies and how the role they are playing in the economy, and how Peter Obi or some of these candidates are the solutions they are bringing to curtail these problems?
Is that to me?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay,
That's
right.
you.
Now, listen, cabal it has nothing to do with region or tribe. To be honest, cabal simply means a group of people with a common agenda, yes, to exploit the country or to hold the country at ransom. And so if you look at those set of people, they cut across north and south. So it's not just a question of one tribe or whatever. And these are people who have taken politics to be a profession. Politics shouldn't be a profession. You know, it should be a pastime activity that people engage in order to further the interest of a country. But here you have individuals who have turned themselves into billionaires without a factory, without hiring an individual, without any intellectual contribution. And so they feed on the national budget and make all sorts of useless decisions. These are the people we call the cabals, and they've held this country hostage for too long.
Okay.
Is that clear? Yeah.
No, that's great. And then how about the Fulanis and then Boko Haram, you know, himself? What with the Fulanis? Who are these people? And then the effect of their actions on the economy, and then that of Boko Haram, and then we can come to the solutions that your candidate, the candidate you are supporting, has to solving these problems.
Well, you see, Nigeria is made up of three major tribes: the Igbos, Yorubas, and the Hausas. Now, historically, if you look into the history of independence and all that stuff, you wouldn't notice too much of the Fulanis. The Fulanis are of mixed Arab, stock. And they migrated from North Africa, Morocco, across the desert, and made their way into West Africa. They're in different places, and they are known for their heads, their animals, cows and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the ancestors made their way to the northern part of Nigeria in the 1800s. And they were, I think they came with, religion, which is Islam. And eventually they convinced the main indigenes of the north, who are the Hausas. They convinced them, in one way or the other, and they, over time, they began to dominate both the politics, the chieftaincy, and the religious leadership of the north. And so over time, they made very heavy inroads into Nigerian politics. And I think one of the reasons being that at independence, you had those of us in the South, we embraced our colonial masters, their religion, and the educational system. And so they convinced those of us in the South of the importance of education, and we embraced it. However, realizing that those in the North were not as capable in terms of, embracing education, and also to serve the interest of our colonial masters, I think they encouraged them to dominate the armed forces. So in the 1960s, 70s, the armed forces were seen as a profession for those who are not intellectually gifted, or those who are not keen in education. So little did those of us in the South realize that power, can sometimes become, a dominant force in controlling a nation. So when eventually military coup and other things became the order of the day, because they were more prominent within the army, they took control of the country through military coups. Now we have, so they also made their way into Nigerian politics. And so through the arrangements they had with the Hausas in the north, if you look at most of the governors, they were mostly the Fulanis. So in terms of the political system in the north, you find out that the Fulanis tend to dominate in a number of areas. So, but however, what has happened here is that the coming in of President Buhari brought in a change that nobody hoped for. And that change was the empowering of the Fulani tribe, which of course is a tribe that he belongs to. And I believe that one of the reasons why he made that choice to empower them was that you realize that with the environmental issues that is facing various parts of the world, and particularly the desert, you know, these are nomads, you know, and they move their cattle from one. Now, because of the environmental challenges we're having, the grazing land is no longer as, you know, as easy to reach as possible. And so I think also the Fulanis also, they have got more educated people now who probably foresee the future, that perhaps, you know, moving cows from one location to the other might not be the order of the day. So I think they began to look for a country to settle permanently.
There you go.
And under Buhari, I think that decision was made that that country will be Nigeria. And of course, he began to implement all kinds of policies that finally empower these individuals to begin to, you know, take up, I don't know what to call them, arms or whatever. You know, what you saw is that throughout both the north and part of the south, there were so many killings. And that was the first time, apart from the Nigerian Civil War, which we had, this was the first time in any of the administration, whether it is military or civilian, that under a presidential candidate, you had foreigners come into our country, slaughter our citizens, take up their lands, and there was, you know, and the government and the army did not act as they should. So that is what is putting a lot of pressure right now, that that people are looking for change. Because while those killings and every other thing was going on, the political parties were adamant. They were not as reactive as one will expect. And so the Labour Party, rather this time, is the only political party that brings somebody that is neutral, somebody who has got the interest of the country at heart, somebody that is willing to be an honest broker. There are so many things and that Obi has done in recent times that none of the other presidential candidates have been able to do. And I'm very, very proud to associate with him.
There is still, thank you so much for that great piece of information, and I think it enlightens a lot of people, even Ghanaian, me as a Ghanaian and an African, about these Fulani issues, because we only hear about them, you know, Fulani this, Fulani that, and so thank you for giving us the history. But we also have the issue of Boko Haram. Excuse me, how prevalent, how is his action, his operations in Nigeria, and is that a matter that has been put to sleep, or?
No, again, you see, before the these major Fulani killings that we've witnessed in recent times, the major problem that was there was the emergence of the Boko Haram. Boko Haram, according to those who understand Hausa and the interpretation of what it means, my understanding that it means Western education is forbidden. I don't know why it's forbidden, because anyway. And so, but my own research indicates that one of the reasons why that group emerged was the inequality in the country, and particularly in the north, where the elite, the politicians, were using the citizens of the north to maintain their own personal power and gains. And so there was no development that was accruing to those from the north as a result of their political dominance. I think we did speak earlier on that about 64% of the times they led the country. And so one would have expected that a people that have led this powerful country 64% of the time, that the economy and the standard of living of the people of that region would be better. Rather, it was. It's one of the poorest areas of the country. And so this group emerged as a result of their dissatisfaction with the ongoings in that region. However, I think from there it was hijacked. I can't explain exactly what led to what. Then it became a major problem for the government. They started, attacking not only government infrastructures, but also they were killing fellow Muslims, because sometimes you look at it as if it's a religious thing. Then later on, when you look at the composition of those that have been killed, the fact that they are, sometimes the mosques, sometimes imams, sometimes, so indiscriminate killing, then you realize that there's something beyond religion, although sometimes they tend to present religion in front. So Boko Haram is it's a terrorist group. That's what it is. It's a terrorist group that has now been joined by some of these Arab terrorist organizations, and they have their major preoccupation is to want to Islamatize, our country. So that is where we are at the moment.
Okay.
Hopefully the country will remain secular.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Dr. Davidson, for a great insight on these topics or these subjects that we have been discussing so far. These things that we think about and wonder about and only see sometimes on social media and mainstream, but do not have a full understanding. So we are grateful that you came on the show today to give us more insight to some of these issues that has been going on in West Africa, particularly Nigeria, where you're from. We must also remind our audiences that Dr. Davidson is a professor, is an assistant professor at the University of Newcastle, which is located in the United Kingdom. So
can I correct you? There's Northumbria University, because there are two universities. Northumbria University, not Newcastle University.
Oh, say that again. Okay, I'm sorry.
It is Northumbria University. However, my department is the Newcastle Business School.
There you go.
That is what I teach. Yes.
Yes, and that has been my confusion. Yes, the Newcastle Business School. Thank you so much once again for the correction, and want to remind our audience that it's about 11 p.m. currently, and so we really want to appreciate Dr. Davidson for staying up to help with this conversation. We shall be right back after taking this short commercial break.
Thank you.
The Progressive Minds is supported by the United African Organization, presenting citizenship application assistance workshops to assist green card holders to become U.S. citizens. Becoming a citizen is easier than you think, and it protects you and your family. Your voice can be heard through your vote, and becoming a citizen allows you to do that. Ever want someone from your community to represent you? Become a citizen and run for public office. Join Unite Africans as we celebrate the rights and freedoms that come with U.S. citizenship. Ready to take the first step in the naturalization process? More information. Contact us at 312-949-9980 or 773-420-8976 or visit us at www.uniteafricans.org.
There is a cry.
Aglo. Aglo Bolingbrook Lighthouse is a network of caring women. We are a dynamic global movement with a single mission to see God's purpose fulfilled on earth as it is in heaven. Our mandate is every nation touched and every heart changed for God. We invite you to our prayer meeting every Saturday and breakfast meeting held every last Saturday of the month from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. via Zoom meeting. For more information, please contact Dickness Rebecca Modi at 630-297-1471 or Reverend George Ofe Ado, our advisor, at 630-414-9505. We look forward to having a refreshing time with you in the Lord. Thank you and stay blessed.
The Nigerian elections and its impact on Sub-Saharan Africa. We are talking to Dr. ISREAL NONYEREM Davidson, all the way in the United Kingdom. He is the author or the producer of Who Did This to Us? It's a viral YouTube video that talks about Africa and our resources, the abundance of the both human and natural resources, and how we have not been able to use it as a people and as a continent to our benefits, to the development of the continent. And of course, that video went it was way viral, if I can use that phrase. It's on YouTube currently. Dr. ISREAL Davidson also talks about other subject matters concerning the diaspora, Africa in general, and a very interesting topic. So you want to check his YouTube channel. I wonder if he has one, but I think I've seen a YouTube channel. I usually see his, I'll say his skits or his short videos on social media. I haven't really checked it out on YouTube, but we'll get to him to find out if he does have a YouTube channel. Do you have one?
I do have, yes, I do have YouTube channel. I mean, if you use my name, ISREAL NONYEREM Davidson, you should. I have a very interesting channel, which I dedicate to contributing towards the emancipation of Africa. And the idea of this particular channel is to create awareness. And to encourage the youth to take up the challenge and transform their mindset and bring Africa where it should be.
One would ask that you reside in the United Kingdom. Do you do a lot of work in Africa?
Yes, I do. Yes.
And with in this day and age, internet and all of that, I think we are all able to affect Africa and other continents and other parts of the world with our knowledge, our talent, and our resources if we want to. So thanks for the great work. Now, how and when did you decide to join Peter Obi?
I think like I said, I made a decision to run for the 2023 presidential race.
Right.
And so I joined a very interesting political party, ADC. However, somewhere along the line, I realized I wasn't too satisfied with the way things were going. And I believe that, Nigerian politics has been greatly monetized, such that you need to control billions to be able to succeed. And so rather than to waste my time, chasing unnecessary shadows, I did step down. I made a very powerful statement, which is on YouTube. But in that, as I made my mind to step down, something happened at that time, which was I read in one of the Nigerian newspapers, and I followed it up on social media, where Peter Obi's daughter got married. Peter Obi is a multi-billionaire, And unlike the tradition of wastage we see during weddings of the high-profile politicians, his was a very low-key one, which is something that reflects the nature of this man. The wedding was low-key. In fact, if I saw the photograph of where it took place, it was within his compound, and people were sitting on ordinary chairs. So it made me begin to take a second look at this individual, and I think in my, in my resignation statement, I did make it a point there to give him credit, for demonstrating that you can be rich and recognize that wastage is not a way to be able to demonstrate economic power. I think from there, by that time, he hadn't yet declared for presidency. But I have a very good friend of mine, Valentine Ozibo. He contested was one of the gubernatorial candidates for Anambra State. He's a very good friend of mine. I hinted to him to communicate to P2B that I'd like P2B to throw in, to run for presidency based on a number of things I've heard about him. The next thing I heard was that because at the time he was a member of the PDP, so I was hoping that PDP was going to nominate him as the flag bearer for at least two reasons. One is that it has been generally accepted that the tribe he comes from has not been well represented in Nigerian politics in terms of giving opportunity for somebody from that region to emerge as a president. And then he, being a member of that powerful political party, and with his profile, I thought they would give him a chance to emerge the flag bearer. Regrettably, they chose to, ask another northerner, Atiku, to become their flag bearer. And as a result of that decision, P2B decided to, join the Labour Party. And when he did, I was quite glad, and I listened to him very carefully. I looked at, his past record, and particularly, the way he comports himself, a very simple individual and one who is so compassionate. So when you combine his creativity in business with his intellectual, academic achievements, he's been a graduate of Oxford, Cambridge, and a number of top universities across the world. He's a man who believes in developing himself, and still he's a trader. So when you combine these attributes, you look at an individual who, can offer the country quite a lot. And most importantly, governance is not new to him. He was once the governor of one of the states, Anambra State, I believe, and he performed wonderfully well, as Daniel, signaled earlier on, mentioned earlier on. So that was where I began to pick interest. It took him a little while to produce his manifesto, but every inch of his steps, I was following it, and as a result of that, I made a decision to produce some short videos to support his campaign.
Okay.
And I'm happy I did. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Daniel, you support the same candidate. Would you say you do so for the same reasons that Dr. Davidson just narrated, or there are a couple of other things that you were looking at? And how do you think that Peter Obi is going to be able to change the trajectory, the economic trajectory, that both economic and political trajectory that Nigeria is on now? Dr. AGIRI. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. We can hear you. That's my fault. Let me do this. I think my system is freezing up on me. Yes. Go ahead now. I'm sorry. Can you unmute yourself?
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. It's because of his track record when he was governor of Anambra. Anambra was the worst state in the eastern southeast. When Obi became a governor of Anambra, he turned everything around by taking them from bottom to number one. And he's a man that have a very good character. He have compassion. He believed one Nigeria. If you watch his speech, he always tell you, don't vote for me as an Igbo man, vote for me as a Nigerian, and also check my track record and go and verify. He is the only governor that have ever, saved money for the states. So when he have the rights to, write the money, and he never for one day acts of pension, and Anambra State have never for one day, as past governor, as other governors used to do, they write a huge amount of pensions and other things for them to reach themselves. And all these people, they don't have factory or something like that. Obi believe to serve people, not because of the money or because of any other thing, because already God have already blessed him. He always have Nigeria at heart. So because of his track record.
Among the states, which one is, you would say in terms of economy and population, which is the biggest?
Lagos.
Okay. And,
yes.
Okay, the reason why I asked is you mentioned how Anambra has done, so much. I mean, how he transformed Anambra. And so I wanted to see the role that Anambra plays in the entire economy of Nigeria.
Anambra, because he brought them from bottom to the number one. Even Anambra, some of the product that is meant for Anambra when he was a governor. Unlike Lagos State, when Tinubu is a governor in Lagos State, Lagos State has been a British colony, federal capital, and other things. The only thing, they did, they are highly in debt.
What are some of the natural resources in Anambra State?
Anambra have, I think it's one of the oil producing states as of now.
Okay. Which state in Nigeria has the most concentration of oil and gas? Dr. Israel.
Most of the southern states, from rivers, Cross River, I mean, almost a lot of those states by the sea, they are quite rich in petroleum resources.
Okay, so now I think if I quite remember, when it comes to the party that is in the forefront, you said it's is that Tinubu's party, the APC?
No, the Labour Party at the moment.
Labour Party.
The Labour Party. Yeah, okay. Peter Obi. Yes.
Okay, great. And so he mentioned, Daniel mentioned earlier, the top 3 priorities on people's minds in Nigeria. How about you? What do you think are the top 3 that people are yelling for? I mean, desiring for change to happen in Nigeria, Dr. Davidson?
I think if I go by Peter Obi's way of thinking, which I share very much, security is one of them. I think Daniel mentioned that, which is very important.
Right.
The economy, because there's a very high level of unemployment, about 133 million Nigerians are out of work. So you need the economy to be quite strong and productive. And of course, infrastructure here, particularly power, electricity. If you want to talk about, Obi has, his mantra, I love it so much, because he says that he wants to move the country from consumption to production.
Okay.
And I think he recognizes that to achieve that, there has to be a transformation of mindset on the part of Nigeria, but also most importantly, that power will have to play a very important role. So within that infrastructure, if I put that all together, I think education as well, because when you're talking about change of mindset when you're talking about productivity, when you're talking about the quality of the citizen of the country. Education plays a crucial part. So Daniel was absolutely right.
In terms of natural resources that Nigeria is endowed with, we will say oil and gas, right? Those are the two main ones.
And not only that, I mean, like I said, these are the ones in the south. For some reason, to be honest, for some reason, which I'm very, very uncomfortable with. Whether it is by design or accidentally, there are the North has got huge mineral resources ranging from gold, iron, aluminium, also something that we could extract, for whatever reason. Remember that 64% of the time, the country has been led by somebody from the North.
Right.
And if you follow the Nigerian constitution, there are a number of things you cannot do state-wise. It has to come from the center, led by the president. And the president, 64% of the time, has been somebody from the North. Why there is that decision to leave those, natural resources unextracted is beyond me. So while we say that there's a lot of petroleum and natural gas in the south, that is not the only one. There is huge other resources that you have in the north that remain untapped.
About 5 years ago, Nigeria was the country that produced 40% of the world's oil. Please help educate us on this. I know, Dr. Davidson, you are enriched in that information.
Yes, Nigeria has, mind you, OPEC controls the quota for their members.
Okay.
And one of the things that kept surprising, even when I decided to run for presidency, one of the things I wanted to understand was why Nigeria is unable to meet its own quota. And so one of those reasons being pipeline vandalism and a number of other, and of course, the stealing of the oil, the Nigerian oil. The percentage of oil that is stolen from, our shores is unimaginable. And when you consider the fact that we have the Navy, we have represented in all kinds of armed forces, the fact that these mighty, shipping, vehicles or whatever, ships that they come into our country and extract oil and leave our shores undetected, you begin to suspect collusion. So the capacity of the country remains not fully tapped. So there's that potential there, and that is one of the things I'm hoping for, the emergence of P2B as the next president, because he's a businessman, and as a businessman who started from scratch and made his money genuinely through hard work, and knows how to create wealth. I'm sure he understands the importance of making sure that the resources of the country are well secure.
Awesome. Thank you again. We know that ideally, from what you just said about Peter Obi, of course, you may not be able to speak on Tinubu and Atiku because of your allegiance or your support to Peter Obi. So we will spare you that. But what advantages do you think that he has over these two candidates that you think Nigerians will be really be optimistic about? I mean, I know you said something, but
yeah. First of all, I have my respect for the two other candidates.
Right.
Asuwaju Tinubu, who is the flag bearer for APC.
Okay.
He's a well-known politician, and he has his own strengths and limitations. But age is not on his side. He has made a lot of mistakes in recent times. He has some health issues. I mean, nobody is holding, the health issues against him. It's a natural thing that as you grow old, you know, things do change.
Right.
Yeah, but I thought probably time for him to retire.
Is he in his 80s?
Pardon?
Is he in his 80s? Or close to?
Now, it's so look, he's such a controversial individual that it's so difficult to know his age. He claims to be around the late 60s.
Nah.
But I don't think people believe that.
The pictures we've seen, that is not a 60-year-old man. That's it. But go ahead.
Yeah, and in terms of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, when he ran with Peter Obi as his running mate, I supported them very, very much in 2019 or so.
Okay.
Currently, I thought he's supposed to have allowed Peter Obi to emerge as the flag bearer. I thought he should have honored the gentleman agreement that has been reached, that it is the turn of the South. So his failure to have done that, coupled with the fact that his also age is not on his side, I think that is a bit of a problem for me. I'm not arguing on in terms of tribe. It's not. I'm not supporting Obi because it's of my tribe. No, not at all. You see, I've been in Europe for so long, and I want my children to return to my homeland,
right,
and to make their own contribution, to be safe.
Yeah.
All right. Although they are British citizens, for me, as far as I'm concerned, the place that is their home is Nigeria. You know, Africa is the place.
Yes.
It is the place for the future. And therefore, these children that we've raised in this country, giving them all the best education, I think it's the time to allow them to come back into that country and then be able to make their own mark. Okay. And I don't see that happening with Atiku or Tinubu. And I believe that Peter Obi has got all it takes to be able to turn that country around.
Awesome. Historically, what are the top, I'll say, political parties in Nigeria?
Historically, I think PDP has been one of the, you know, the almighty parties. But PDP. I think, PDP, the PDP, that's the People Democratic Party. I remember that P2B used to be a member of that political party.
Okay.
They've been in power for quite some time.
Okay.
In fact, they ruled for about 16 years.
And who was the president? Who was the leader then?
The President Jonathan, was one of the presidential, president that emerged from that political party. Awesome. But I don't think that that party governed our country at a time when oil revenue was quite high. The oil price, the price per a measure of oil was quite high in the world oil market. And I don't think they made good use of the opportunity they had. Okay. And I think although President Jonathan worked as hard as he could and made some good decisions that benefited the country, but the level of corruption was enormous.
Okay.
And as a result of that, that led to the emergence of President Buhari, okay, whom everybody thought that with his military discipline, he would have brought a massive change. That change never happened.
I for the first time in my life, I don't know if it happens in any other country, I heard that he's the president, but he's also the minister for oil. Is
exactly.
That, yes. I don't know if it's ever happened before, but when I heard that, I couldn't help myself. I still, anytime I remember it, the only thing that comes to me is to laugh. Like, it's just funny. You know, the president is also a minister, a minister for oil. I mean, how possible? So
I think the Constitution, there are those who have argued that the Nigerian Constitution is a very big baggage for all of us. It is a Constitution that needs to be changed.
Oh, it allows that. The Constitution allows that.
Of course, otherwise it wouldn't have happened.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't have happened. You see, the Constitution entrusted enormous power to the president. I remember some years ago, there was a law student that, came to our university to study. And he told me that the Nigerian president is the most powerful president in the world. I thought about United States. I thought about Russia, and I couldn't understand until eventually I dived into the Constitution. I think the Nigerian president is the only president who can act even without consulting anyone.
Wow.
No American president can make certain decision without, or other politicians involved. The Nigerian president can do anything he wants.
Okay.
And so when he made a decision to be the oil minister as well, you can see it from a positive angle anyway, because at the time, remember, one of the reasons why that he was elected was that people saw him as a disciplinarian, a man that is so clean that he was coming to, make a very big difference.
Right.
And so the oil sector, we were not meeting our quota as far as the oil sector is concerned. The level of theft of the Nigerian oil was enormous. The level of corruption was endemic. Yes. And so when he decided to put that particular ministry under his control, it was quite understandable that here he is as a military man, a general,
right?
That although he took the title, but I'm sure he will hand somebody was actually responsible for it. And that person was supposed to be providing him with feedback regularly, and then he was to make, a tangible decision.
Right.
But I'm not sure that his being the minister has made any difference.
Awesome. Right. Thanks for your response. We have been talking to Dr. ISREAL Davidson, he's a Nigerian academic and politician. Dr. AGIRI is also an international immigration diplomat currently in the Netherlands, but he operates in Europe, also a Nigerian native. Naila Ali has been watching. Naila, thank you so much for joining. Jeanette Hutchison has also been here. This evening's episode is looking at the Nigerian elections and how the outcome is going to impact Sub-Saharan Africa. And Dr. Davidson gave us a breakdown of what Sub-Saharan actually means. That said, would you say that the consensus in the country in general, from what you guys are hearing, the work you're doing, is you said PDP, first of all, let's go back to, you said PDP is one of the biggest political parties, right? And followed by what other parties?
APC, the current ruling party, yes.
APC, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what will be the third one?
Well, as at now, it's now the Labour Party is the third. Yes.
So you will say the Labour Party has been in existence for a long time. Is that correct?
Yeah, they have been, yes. They have been, but they've not been until the emergence of, until Peter B joined them.
Okay. So
they were not that well known. They were not that well known, yes.
Right. So now they are forced to reckon with that. The third force, okay. Now, that will be history if that happens, right? It will be history if he does win. And so right now is between, so it's APC and PDP.
APC, PDP, and LP, Labour Party. Yes.
And so PDP is by Atiku. It's led by
Atiku is PDP, yes.
Okay,
yes.
Good. So both of you support Labour, so we understand that. But again, honestly speaking, the general consensus in the country, you think is that momentum is leading to, I think I asked this question earlier, but I still want our audience to have that, feeling. Are you guys seeing the momentum swinging? Which party are you seeing the momentum swinging to, aside the incumbent party?
Daniel?
Sorry, let me throw this question to Daniel, Dr. Daniel. Dr. Daniel.
Yeah, it is Labour.
Okay, so
Labour.
Okay, the pendulum is swinging towards the Labour Party. All right.
Labour Party was a party that nobody knows all about it until Peter joined it. When Peter decamped from PDP and went to Labour, and started having this making the Labour Party to be popular.
Okay.
Because of.
Do you see a lot of the youth and millennials swinging towards that party?
Exactly. It's like organic party. Okay. Where people, even you don't spend anything, people themselves sponsor the party by themselves.
Oh, wow.
Not P2B or something like that. If P2B tomorrow wakes up and say that it's not going to run, the youths will go and drag him to come and run. That is the truth.
Dr. Davidson, you are nodding your head.
Yes, I agree with him. Yeah. If Peter Obi wakes up one morning, I hope it doesn't happen, and tells the country and say, "Oh, I'm no longer running," I think they will invade his house and then tie his hands and they take him to the polling station.
Wouldn't you say that that will be the same thing for the other two parties, PDP and then APC? If Atiku says it's no longer running, don't you think that these people would want to, and even Tinubu?
Well, his family members and some of his tribes, but in terms of the nation, I think there'll be jubilation. There'll be jubilation if they step down.
Is Peter Obi the same person who maybe 4 years ago we were seeing in the news and on social media that one Nigerian prominent leader had been arrested. They arrested him. He was under house arrest. He went to court and all of that. He was the leader of the Igbo something movement. I don't know.
No. That's a different. No, you're talking about Nnamdi Kanu, yes. Nnamdi Kanu is not. Well, it's not really a politician. He's. I don't know how to describe. Probably a freedom fighter, or I think he's an individual who felt that his people are being marginalized and not being given an opportunity to play part, in Nigerian politics, and therefore that they should be allowed to secede from the country. I think that was his opinion. That was his views.
Is he still in prison?
Yeah, he is. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So that said, and we're trying to see now. In a few minutes, we'll wrap up the conversation. It's 20 minutes to 6 p.m. So thank you all so much for hanging out. And I know it's super late in Europe right now, so we really appreciate it. We'll try and wrap up quickly. Alingo Dangote is he an Igbo or from the north? Dr. Israel Davidson.
Oh, he's from the north. Yeah.
Okay. I know we hear he's building one of the biggest oil refinery in Nigeria. The reason why I'm saying this is that looking at the capacity of refinery or industry that he's building, and looking at the power that Nigeria has as a country, its political and economic power. If, from what you guys are saying, if the whole country's energy or aspiration and desire, majority of the nation is gearing towards Peter Obi, whom they see as the one that would liberate Nigeria or take Nigeria to the promised land. If that happens and we see changes happening and Nigeria actually living to its full potential as the big brother, how do you see it affect these other West African countries and of course the Sub-Saharan? Dr. Davidson.
Well, let me first of all, Senate, just tell you a little bit about the challenges that the Sub-Saharan Africa faces.
There you go. Okay.
Corruption and mismanagement is across many of these countries.
Right.
Slow recovery from the pandemic. It affected those countries enormously. Rising food and energy prices, high levels of public debt, and high levels of inflation with devastation on incomes and food security. So it's not only Nigeria, it cuts across, the Sub-Saharan Africa, including South Africa, which we thought that after apartheid will make a very huge difference, bearing in mind, the quality of infrastructure that the administration inherited. Now, Obi has emphasized on productivity, moving the country from consumption to productivity. And that is absolutely right. First of all, Nigerians are industrious, very, very creative. The other thing is that over 50% of the arable land in that country lay fallow. No one is actually cultivating them. And bearing in mind that now we have advancement in technology in terms of production. I mean, I'm talking about the agricultural sector. Obi has emphasized that he's going to invest in those areas or encourage investors to come in those areas so that Nigeria will be self-sufficient in food production. And also, when you consider the fact that the Sub-Saharan Africa, or Africa generally, they are talking about free trade agreement. Now, for that free trade agreement to be able to succeed, there are some key ingredients, of which one of them is productivity, the production capacity. Mm-hmm. So I think if Obi, lives, to expectation, he is going to move Nigeria to be highly productive in a number of sectors leading to export. In fact, to be honest, I was listening to one of his campaign messages where he has already earmarked certain parts of the country that will be industrialized, heavily industrialized for export purposes. So in terms of industrialization and export, in terms of agriculture, so that the country can feed itself and then be able to export. But most importantly, in terms of the success of the election, the success of this current election is going to send a powerful message across the whole of Africa.
The region, yes.
I tell you why. The major reason is, I don't know whether you've realized that in recent times, we've had a number of military coups. And that very culture can sometimes be contagious if you look at the past history. Yes. Once you begin to see military coups, there's a kind of copy, other countries begin, So if Nigeria is able to succeed and then go through this current 2023 election successfully and elect a very powerful candidate, productive candidate as will be, it is going to send a lot of signal to a number of other countries that are planning to embark on election, to execute that. The other thing also is that it gives Nigeria the voice and power to be able to speak to some of these military juntas and get them to be able to return power to the to the civilian administration. So it is important. It is important that the 2023 election goes smoothly, and also it's important that somebody with the capability of Obi emerges to drive Nigeria to a successful a very, very successful path.
Again, thank you so much. It's 5:46 p.m. Central Time. We will be wrapping up the show very soon. We should have wrapped up 15 minutes ago, but wanted to get this last point out. So, Dr. Davidson, thank you so much for giving us an insight as to how the success of this election, the smooth transition of power, or the smooth running of this election, and of course, if the winner turns out to be what Nigerians are looking for, the majority of Nigerians are looking for, then of course it's going to open doors, it's going to influence other political leaders in the Sub-Saharan Africa, in West African countries. And we hope that that happens, because the truth is that Nigeria is big brother. Nigeria is huge when it comes to this part of Africa we're talking about, the Sub-Saharan Africa that we're talking about. And of course, Africa as a whole. But when we look deeply, I mean, specifically these areas is very critical. And so we're hoping that it all goes well. And I must say that proud to my invitation to Dr. Davidson, I didn't know he's a supporter of Peter Obi. Yes. I reached out to him per his expertise and for the fact that he's been on the show before, helping with other subject matters concerning Africa. And so I just found out that, he's supporting him. So, but that said, I think that he has done a great job by letting us know the insight of the Nigerian politics. Him and Dr. AGIRI has given us an insight to how the Nigerian politics looks like, the shape, the dynamics, and what Nigerians are expecting. Hopefully, they are speaking for majority of Nigerians when it comes to who the country elects. When is the election actually? 23rd, right?
25th.
25th.
The presidential one is 25th.
Which is next week, Saturday?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, great. Okay. Well, that said, Daniel, please give us your closing remarks with regards to this year's Nigeria's election and the optimism of the people of Africa, especially those in West Africa. Please go ahead.
26 or 27 of this month, the best candidate should emerge that will give us that security, economy, and other things, because we, the Nigerians in abroad, we really need to go home and feel secured or something like that. So this is the problem. And as I'm telling you now, a lot of Africans now are going through Mediterranean Sea via Libya just because of a greener pasture. When we have all the mineral resources, we have all these things it takes, but they are trying to survive and they are dying every day. If we should have a very good leader or something like that, they will not be going through this, because thousands of them will leave from their countries via Mediterranean Sea. At the end of the day, few will be inside. We enter Europe. Others, some of them will die, and some of them are being sold. And in Libya, and some of the Western world and other people goes to that place to buy some people's organs and enslave them, or this or that. Yeah. So this is why the African continent in general should work on this. Let us elect, if we miss it this time, to get when Nigeria sneezes, the whole Africa shake. So we have to pray and let God provide the best leader, so that our children, our youth will not be dying through in the Sahara Desert and Mediterranean Sea. Because my heart bleeds being an African, and here I am now. I am a member of European family, but I am here now. Maybe today, there's shelter on my head, good food, whatever it takes, or something like that. But they are my brothers and sisters, friends and well-wishers down there in Africa, who are selling their properties just to leave the country to look for a better, a greener pasture.
Yeah,
I wish you invite me here one day so that we can talk about these African migrants. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, and I promise that we will do this. We'll be talking about African migrants using Libya, Algeria, Morocco, and Egypt to venture into the European countries for greener pastures. Thank you so much, Dr. AGIRI, for your contribution. Go ahead, Dr. AGIRI.
I am sorry because I'm still inside the boat. We are trying to rescue some of the people, that are going through Mediterranean with this balloon. That is why my network is not stable, and the other day I'm using these gadgets. But someday when we organize this thing, I will make a better distance. So all your viewers, I have to apologize for the network, going in and out and echoing or something like that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. We truly appreciate the time, the contribution, the commitment, even to do this in very uncomfortable circumstances. And you are doing a great job for humanity, for Africa, and God richly bless you. We truly appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sure, definitely. Dr. Davidson, go ahead. Your closing remarks.
Right. Look, Asana, when I think of Nigeria and the progress that it should make, I think of the black race. For so long, there are those who believe that the black race that were inferior. But if you look into history and dive deep into history, you realize that the black race, we are very creative. One of the most powerful creations of God himself. But what has failed us is that we've not had the opportunity to be able to prove to the world that we are capable. God did not make a mistake by endowing Africa with huge resources. And I want to tell you that we have capable people who can drive the agenda of Africa and bring us to the limelight, just like the Chinese. And so I am looking at Nigeria as that very particular centerpiece that can send a clear message to the world that the black man is capable, we're not inferior. The reason why I'm supporting P2B is that his agenda is one that is going to give opportunity to those who are capable to contribute towards running his administration. And my hope is that he's going to, continue, for 8 years, which is the maximum. And I want to assure you that giving him that opportunity, within 8 years, we're going to see a different country that will send a different message to the whole world, that they need to take Africa and Africans more seriously. And I hope that the election that takes place on the 25th is going to deliver the beginning of that message. I am very, very hopeful. Thank you.
Thank you again, Dr. ISREAL NONYEREM Davidson, for coming on the show again to help in this discussion. We're really, really grateful. And also Dr. Daniel AGIRI, who's on the Mediterranean Sea right now in the boats trying to help Africans, young Africans, who are risking their lives to get out of the richest continent to find greener pastures, in the hopes of finding greener pastures. Oh, Africa, who did this to us? Let me borrow the phrase of Dr. Davidson. Who did this to us? But whatever it is, I am confident that we have the tenacity and the time for us to take our own destiny and change our own destiny in our hands, take our own destiny in our hands and make it work for us as Africans is here. Our responsibility to Africa is paramount, especially diasporans, African diasporans, those of us that are here. We can't be comfortable. We can't take things for granted. We can't relax in our laurels of helping the mother Africa just because we're doing so well here. The encouragement to everyone, to every African here in the United States or in the UK, in Europe, across the world that are doing well is let's put all our contribution and efforts in helping those Africans back home, whether it's remittance, whether it's sharing valuable information, whether it's encouraging them to vote for the right leaders, participate in the political process and vote for the right leaders, because only then can we see a brighter day for Africa. Thank you so much for coming, for joining the show and for participating. For all of you who have been part of the show this evening. Next week, Tuesday, we will be talking to State Rep Kem Buckner, who is running for the office of mayor in this beautiful city of Chicago. We hope to see you then. We hope that you make time to be with us then. On that note, Dr. Davidson and Dr. AGIRI, thank you once again. Have a wonderful evening. Get some rest. Dr. Davidson, I know you're tired. Tomorrow is Monday. You got to get prepared for lectures. And we really appreciate your time and your coming on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for having us. See you soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
The Progressive Minds is supported by the United African Organization, presenting citizenship application assistance workshops to assist green card holders to become U.S. citizens. Becoming a citizen is easier than you think, and it protects you and your family. Your voice can be heard through your vote, and becoming a citizen allows you to do that. Ever want someone from your community to represent you? Become a citizen and run for public office. Join Unite Africans as we celebrate the rights and freedoms that come with U.S. citizenship. Ready to take the first step in the naturalization process? More information. Contact us at 312-949-9980 or 773-420-8976 or visit us at www.uniteafricans.org.